Bet- Between your sandwiches and Wilbur's fried chicken, I'm
Fried
starving
chicken.
now.
That's
Thank you
right. I was
guys.
just doing fried chicken.
He
Oh
does it
my
just to
God.
torment me.
And even better, on occasion. So Nick, you should recognize these.
Oh my God.
Macrons
Yeah, that's right.
from Bouchon. Or
Yeah.
did you order them? I order
I'm
them.
just over
I
here
order them
drinking
from
my
Macron.
water.
Yeah.
All right, so gentlemen, we are currently sort of live, but now we're gonna go actual live because we got to do our intro if it cooperates. I'm trying a whole new setup today, so
Oh, that's right. You got fiber optic.
yeah, it should work.
Yeah.
Hope it works.
Yeah, about that.
Kill the Sparky.
Nope, not gonna work. Awesome.
It's
Yes.
my time.
Yeah.
I shall perform an interpretive dance of our intro.
This I am dying to see. We want to say welcome to everybody on Twitch, and we didn't want to do that. We wanted to say thank you to everybody on Twitch for showing up and saying hi. We got Sci-Fi Writers playing old school D&D, and for some reason, our intro isn't working. I don't know why. Let me try one more time. It's kind of anticlimactic when you do it this way, but like Nick said about his hoagie experience, I flew too close to the sun.
Hit it with the holy e-tool.
The whole and you actually have an e-tool. Please tell me you were going to paint some sort of religious symbol on the front of that, like a Templar's logo or something like that.
That'd be spoiler.
Dude, now I want one.
Right? Yeah. Oh my God, that would be so amazing.
All right, now I know what's on my Christmas list.
I mean, I have an e-tool. I have one of the e-tools that you can take apart and like turn it into a spear and stuff like that.
Holy
I
cow.
think I sold all my personal stuff like that when I got out of the army.
I gotcha.
Went to Ranger Joe's and just sold it all.
You went to Ranger Joe's?
Yeah, they were buying stuff back, and I didn't need it.
I love that place.
It was a nice place. It's like the
I've got
mecca
a lot
for
of mileage
soldiers.
in my e-tool, so I can't complain.
Let's see. Still not gonna work. Bastards.
I was hearing it.
Yeah, I don't know. I got nothing. All right. Well, as
We'll
far
have
as
to make believe.
what is it?
We'll have to make believe.
We'll have to make believe. Go ahead, Jr. Sing the intro.
Figaro, Figaro, Figaro. Yeah, that's the best you're gonna get from me. We should have got Nick. He's the one married to an opera singer.
Oh my God. Yeah, that would have been awesome having Nicole sing the intro.
Well, she did. She sang the old intro, which was Crimson Hawk, until we got tired of being turned into gay space pineapple. And we decided to actually play D&D instead of like, well, roll a 1d6 and tell me how I feel. It is that in the Dungeon Master's Guide? It is not a mechanic.
I told you about the boys who have been using the space pineapple as kind of like their personal totem lately, and the funny thing is now they've adapted it, so it is no longer the pineapple; it is the pornapple.
That's right.
That's why.
So when we last left our intrepid heroes in the ruin, there was a whole lot of battling going on. Does anybody want to carry the recap?
I was gonna say, did we do intros?
No, we did not. So Lieutenant Rick James, going by also known as JR. We have Wilbur Aloysius Kuchenmeyer, just because I love saying that every time, being played by Mike Rothman. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. I heard rumor that you were actually going to be sending a dyslexic devil worshiper up against us, and supposedly he sold his soul to Santa.
And I'm taking away 100 XP for dad jokes. We have no actual like chaos actual. Nick Cole, how are you, sir?
I aim to please. I've been causing chaos over the internets all week, and I think I'm actually still causing it as we speak.
That is fantastic.
To the gulag with you.
Yeah, if it's gulag worthy, we're going to hold off. And then, of course, joining us today, we have Rob Sparky playing Bren Villanueva. How are you, sir?
pretty good. I'm also known as Sergeant Mustachio. So
Does that mustache have its own zip code?
yes,
Yeah.
and thanks to Nick, it has its own abilities, so it's even better.
Exactly.
Nick
He's
serenaded it last
got a
After
beautiful
Dark.
picture of a Huey there in the background.
Yeah, that's my. Yeah, my dad was a door gunner.
Nice.
Nice. What? Where did he serve?
Out of Coochie, the 116th Assault Helicopter Company. They did some crazy stuff.
Right
Yeah,
on.
I saw a lot of action in Coochie, but not that one.
He paid a
I
lot
could
of money
stop
to
the
see that
story.
action too.
I could tell some of those stories my dad's told, but not appropriate for here. Afterwards, maybe.
Knight of Barsoom is calling you Sergeant Pornstash in the chat. So that's fantastic. So when we last left our intrepid heroes, you guys were kind of directed to. A small island on your way back to the Shattered Sea, and who's got their
I hear an echo.
yeah, I'm hearing it like a crazy echo.
Crazy Echo now?
Nope, no crazy echo now.
It was JR.
No, I don't believe it.
So when we last left our heroes, they were directed at a small island toward the Shatter Sea, and in that island, they detected sort of like a cult thing going on. Members of the Black Grove were gathering and trying to subvert an ancient druid holy place for their own nefarious deeds, because everyone likes to say nefarious. After a battle with the cult members, before disappearing, they awakened two what looked like almost like treants. They were giant, like tree monsters, tree things that just massive bodies of men, but shaped like trees. They tore themselves root and stem from the holy place and started chasing. You guys got out at the last minute, recovering yourselves to the and the name of the ship, Nick?
The Cyclops Hole.
And making all possible speed away where they couldn't keep up. So you guys had picked up two new members of your crew temporarily. One was named Gwendolyn Mamora. She has identified herself as a member of the rival sect to the ones that you've been facing, and then
And she's into me, right?
well, everybody's into you.
She just wants to interface with you.
And then, of course, she had a companion that was helping out JR. His name is Carlo Baraxin. He appears to be a young mage who's very uncertain of himself, but certain just enough to teach JR's the ins and outs and basics of mysticism.
Sounds like a real stormy romance.
It could be a real stormy romance. It depends
Don't
on
judge.
well,
Don't be jealous.
it's all going to depend on where things go from here. So you guys are on the Cyclops Whore, and she had told you last time that she had the ability to help you recover the forge, but you were going to have to make some alliances first.
Okay.
So she's directing you further back into the Shattered Sea, and so you're making your way out of the mainland, which would be what would have been south of Florida, and now you're going toward the Shattered Sea. Are you doing anything on the boat on the way down?
I will continue to run gun drills with my people and make sure that my first mate, his name is Tam.
Yeah. So his full name is Voskum.
Voskum.
Everybody calls him Cam.
And he's still on double secret probation first mate status.
He's okay with that as long as you pay him.
I take a clear moment to remind of him that, and then out of the side of my mouth as I walk by, keep a weather eye out for piracy, and then we'll just keep going.
You
And
mean
he
piracy opportunities?
He says, do you want me to keep an eye out for piracy as in we don't want to be hit by pirates, or as in, and he like reaches behind, kind of like behind you to where there's a stack of barrels, and he just hints at a small thing of cloth really ink black cloth that's just hidden behind those barrels that has your Pirate Jack logo on it.
I do this. I go.
It seems like in the days that you guys have been sailing, the crew has started to come around to you guys. They've kind of gotten used to your mannerisms, your jokes. They know to avoid Benny at all costs. Just because.
Who has dysentery again?
Yes.
Well, that's because we keel hauled him after the last thing.
After singing and giving your position away. So
I don't think that druid was happy with him, so maybe she caused it.
Could have been, you know.
I to celebrate their love and affection for us. I order double rum rations for that day.
Some of them are pleased by this, and some of them are very depressed because there is the double probationary first mate won't allow any drinking while they're sailing.
Well, that's him. That's on him. I'm the nice guy. That's how this works.
I told
I'm
you
the
it was
good cop.
okay.
He's the bad cop.
Right on. So, so you guys doing anything training wise?
I'm definitely hooking up with, scholarly, with the druid to learn what I can, and she was gonna get with me after our last event with regards to that whole seaweed test that she gave me.
Right.
So I'm kind of curious whether or not I've learned anything since then from her.
So she teaches you she basically says that her powers are tied into the nature of the world, and that certain prayers and chants invoke a response from the world around you. Who is that? Captain Kilgosha wants to know, Nick, do you guys have a red flag, or are you one of the nice pirates who won't decimate entire ships?
It remains to be seen.
Maybe I'll learn a magic spell and turn the flag red.
Oh yeah, there we go. So she tells you that certain chants and not incantations, but almost like prayers is the word she uses, will invoke reactions from the planet, some more violent than others. And the one she teaches you first is how to clean water. It's just a simple spell. She teaches you how to purify water, and then after a few times you kind of get it down. Not bad.
So that's probably how Benny got dysentery, because I was testing that spell out with my pee, handing it to Benny. It didn't quite work a couple times, and
Well, she says, well, the world around us can be as merciless as any man or woman, and for the prayers that we have that will purify water, we also have prayers that will ruin water as well.
Yeah.
And I have rum.
So, in honor of the rum his crew can't drink, Captain Chaos Actual is going to drink their portion just so it doesn't go to waste. And I'm going to keep letting the mage train me. So, when we did detect magic, did we find anything on the weapons?
So the sabers are not magical. Where did that email go? Yeah, so your sabers are not magical. The breastplates, you have like a dozen or so breastplates.
Right.
Those are not magical except for one. Now these breastplates were like heavy iron. There's one that is not iron. It was like blacked. It had like ash rubbed onto it to make it less shiny. When you kind of clean it off and get all the muck off of it, it's got a picture of like a bird where the wings would look like it spreads up toward the shoulders and would probably go on to like pauldrons, if there were any, but there's nothing attached. So, but yeah, it's got a picture of a bird on the front of the breastplate, and that does detect as magic.
Can we
What
tell
about any
kind
of the?
magic?
Oh, go ahead.
Can we tell what was magic or just that it is magic?
That it is magic. That's what your spell does.
Okay.
Knight of Barsoom's already getting weird in the chat, saying, "Load Sparky into a cannon and fire." The bull necklace is magical. I don't know what a CQB bow is. Are you talking about like a horseman's bow or a short bow?
You said it was a close quarters battle bow, the one we took
Yeah, yeah.
in the grotto under the fort.
Yeah, they're small bows that you can use in indoors because of their particular size.
Is taking it in the grotto code, Jim?
Well, we're in the pirate navy now, so everything is on the table.
Right on.
In the navy.
So, Nick, you had asked to have some of your items identified, or rather,
Yes.
to see if they were magic.
Yes.
Your bastard sword is still magic, and now you guys can't see the effect when JR looks at this. The world kind of hazes out, and he sees almost like everything is very blurry and almost hard to pick up, but magical items come in sharp contrast, very clear and easy to see for him when he's doing this. So the quartz ring comes in very distinct and very clear, which Carlo, who's kind of like your buddy mage, when JR describes this back to him, he's very excited. He's like, "Oh, anything that's super clear is super magical, and it's that's the things you want, is the super clear ones." So he says the ring is very clear. Your sword, the one that has seemed to run out of juice, that thing is not only clear in JR's sight, but it's also glowing in his sight. Carlo explains that anything like that is, oh my goodness, you're talking very, very valuable. You know how much money you could get for something like that?
You know how much money you could take with something like this?
That is going on a shirt. That's awesome. So the and also the dice.
Yes! I was hoping for the
are
dice.
all magical.
In a weird, quirky kind of way.
So was the go ahead.
So when you identify, JR, that the dice are magical, Carlo kind of starts fiddling with some of them, just kind of trying to figure out what what you're seeing. And he says, "Mr. Rock, sir,
Yes.
these dice are magical, so that's a good thing. I mean, you should know that they are magical, and there's magic, and
I'll drink to that.
But you should also know that this is very unreliable magic.
Is it chaos magic?
If I would have to put a label on it, I would definitely say it is chaotic.
Well, I'm chaotic, and so therefore, two chaotics make a good.
So this is a good thing for you.
It's a good thing for me.
Oh, okay. Will it be a good thing for us? Because, we're standing kind of close.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be fine. You'll be fine. I'm a pro.
Okay. Good to know. Wilbur, you said you were throwing some things in to be checked out?
Yeah, actually, the fetishes.
The fetishes by themselves do not radiate as magical. But the one with the gem that seems to have like fangs radiating all around it, that one does radiate magic.
Okay.
And was it as clear as the ones Nick had that was clear, or was it a dull reading?
It's clear, but it's so they show you see them as magical because you can see them distinctly, right? Like I said, and when you start casting this, the world itself kind of blurs out. And then the items that are magical show up as clear as though you are, you got a little nearsighted. You put the spectacles on, and now you can kind of see what's going on.
Okay, but not super magical like Nick's stuff.
No, not that hard.
Okay.
All right. So, anybody else throwing anything in?
Sparky wouldn't have anything that he acquired, right?
Not yet. Unless he's somehow managed to trick out his sniper rifle.
No,
All right,
I'm
so-
just saying.
Go ahead, Rob.
I'm staying up in the crow's nest, watching for hazards, piracy opportunities, staying away from everybody. And question: can I have some rum? Since technically I'm not part of the ship's crew, but the captain's crew.
Well, your CO has said that it's okay, so it's
So-
all rum all the time.
I'm gonna take the magic breastplate, and since we need somebody to be the test dummy, and the captain is good and drunk, so he probably will do it. I'm gonna give Chaos Actual the magic
I'm
breastplate.
glad I'm up here.
See if he turns into, I don't know, a gay pineapple or something.
So you're gonna try and affix the plate to him, or are you going to let him put it on?
I'm gonna let him put it on first, just in case.
No, I shall allow myself to be dressed.
All right, so we're gonna see if we can't affix this to his plate carrier.
All
I
right.
shall bear it. I shall bear it.
Does that make me the valet?
So, well, you're gonna put it on his plate carrier, or you're gonna put it on him?
Well, I'm gonna try to. He's wearing his plate carrier, presumably, so I'm gonna see if I can use that to.
No,
affix
I
it
don't
to
wear
him.
a plate carrier anymore.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'm gonna put it on him.
Plate carriers are gay.
All right, so it's just the cuirass, so it's not the full like armored getup.
Right.
You put it on, and it feels a little big at first, and as you're moving around, it starts to become more comfortable.
Oh, nice.
You guys that are standing and watching this, it looks like Dad just put on his. I mean, a boy just put on his dad's plate carrier for a second. I'm in the army too, Dad. And as he puts it on and he's moving around and trying to get straps tightened up, as the straps tighten, the armor, while you guys are watching, appears to alter shape and start conforming itself to fit him.
That's interesting. Have you noticed
Sniper
anything
jealous.
different, Captain?
Well, man boy, now that you have volunteered to be my valet, do I notice anything different? There's a bird on it. I'll try to fly.
I need you to explain this very carefully, especially since you've had tons of rum.
I have had tons of rum. I don't know, like give it a little hop. How do I feel? Do I feel like I'm pilot? Hey, I'm a pilot. Maybe that tells me something.
Nothing happens when you try to hop.
Okay. And there's what kind of bird is it? Is it a phoenix?
It's really hard to
Rainbow?
tell because it's engraved.
Right.
So it looks like some sort of bird of prey.
A bird of prey.
So eagle, falcon, osprey, those kind of deals.
All right. I will continue to investigate it. I don't know what I'll do, but I'll keep an eye on it.
So you guys are kind of doing your thing, and you see the captain just like wandering around the deck, running into things, jumping off of things.
Business as usual.
He's come up to some of the crew and be like, "You should stab me," and they're vehemently disagreeing with that.
Plunge your dagger right into my heart.
After a little bit, Sparky, you see a small grouping of sandbars surrounding. It would be very generous to call this an island.
I call it out. Land ahoy, sort of.
We say,
I'm pointing
oh.
our captain. And I point in the general direction of these.
I look for hope.
and
Is it more swamp
I'm
than
looking for
island?
him too.
No, it's not swampy. It's like almost sandbars surrounding a small landmass.
Okay,
So-
so there is like above water land mass.
Yeah, so maybe 4 or 5 times the size of the boat.
Is this our destination?
Yeah, Gwendolyn comes to the prow near where the ballista is, and she's signaling and pointing off toward the direction.
Okay. I offer to hold her close to me and point. Had a little
For
too
her
much
protection,
rum.
of course.
She says, "Maybe when you dry out a little bit," and she
Okay.
pat you on the
That's
back.
true. So now, what do we do now that we're here?
Hold on.
Yes.
Since she touched him and she's magical, did anything happen when she touched him? Because he's got the armor on.
I think something did. I'm feeling something.
His
I'm
magical
feeling
no-no
my
spot.
own little potion of enlargement. Control vine.
I'm
Oh
glad I
my
have
God.
Rom.
Yep, you're gonna need it. So she, nothing happens other than he seems
Happy.
he seems happy. You guys get down to the you guys anchor offshore and jump in the skiff to go to the land. She says we have a couple of hours till sunset. After that, we can meet with our contact. However, we do have to wait till it's dark.
Why?
You'll see.
I don't
I
like
like games and I like fun. And I like fun and games. Let's do it. Can we drink while we wait?
You can absolutely drink while you wait.
Then let us build a fire and sing sea chanties. Man boy, you go first.
So
Yes,
they managed to gather enough driftwood to create a fire. They set up torches kind of like around the perimeter of the island. By the time they're pretty much set, the sun is going down. You don't
Have I caught a fish?
I'm sorry?
Have I caught a fish?
Have you been trying to fish?
I would like to try to fish while everybody's working.
You're just kind of
I mean,
enjoying
well,
you're just kind of enjoying the rum. And just casting,
Yeah.
because it's more like fly.
You do.
Yeah,
Like you do. Yeah.
It's more like fly fishing
Shore
because
casting.
you don't
Yeah.
have access to modern reels yet.
No.
And we
So-
can't spare hand grenades.
Yeah, well,
I know what I'll do. I'll take out, like, while I'm there, I'll take out, I don't know. I like the D6 that I got from Awesome Dice. Right?
excellent.
This guy.
We love
And
that guy.
on my next cast, I'll give it a roll and then I'll cast.
Now, are you actually using the awesome die, or are you?
I am using the Awesome die.
Or are you using?
No, I'm using the magical dice as represented by our
Oh,
sponsor.
so you're going. Which die are you going to cast?
I'm going to do the D6.
Okay, go ahead.
4.
Did you cast it on your awesome, be meaner than it piece of leather?
No, I've cast it on my fishing pole.
So you roll the die. You roll the what do you call it? You get a 4, and nothing seems to happen. But you notice that the die skips a little at the end. So like almost as if somebody flicked it.
I like that. All right, let's cast.
All right. So you're gonna keep throwing the line into the water.
Should I roll to hit fish?
No, you should not roll the hit fish. So just after the sun goes down, you get a little hook on your a little tension on the hook, and then you feel the line pull.
I'll pull
And this
that.
is how I died.
You go to pull back, and the long reed that you're using for the rod like bends a lot. Like
I've got a big one.
It's a
boy,
mermaid!
come with me.
so
Bring the frying pan.
you start backing up, pulling on.
Yeah, I'll try to walk it back on shore.
And as you do, there's you see a man like crawl out of the water. He's holding onto the line, and he's kind of like looking at the hook, and then he stands up, and he's wearing what kind of looks like the bottom half of a skin suit or a wetsuit. He releases the hook, and then looks back toward the water. A moment later, there's a woman that kind of comes out of the surf. She exits the surf in the same way. She kind of like crawls up, and then after a minute stands up, and she's got her her hand in the mouth and through the gills of a enormous fish. She drags it up onto the beach and deposits it at your feet.
Boots.
What's that?
Boots.
At your boots. Yep.
His harem grows.
her hair has a weird consistency. It's gritty, more like really thin braids or dreadlocks than it is like hair. And then when she looks at it hit down at your feet, and then when she looks at you, there's a nictating membrane over her eye that closes this way.
Okay.
And then she's got her regular lid, which also blinks. So it's like her eye blinks twice. And then she bows her head and like spreads her hands as if to say no threat. And then she kind of walks back away. And as she does, you notice roughly about 12 other women dressed the same stand up out of the surf.
I've heard about this in Men in Black. There was
I have too.
I shall grab my fish by the gills and give them a wave and thank them and bow and then go gut this bastard and cook him up.
As you're nodding and stuff like that, how many of you still have your wrist computers active?
I still do.
I do.
She says, "I am sorry, Your Highness. He is very drunk."
I'm too drunk for this.
The guy who stood up from the surf just is like amused, and he says, and it's weird because his when he speaks, there's a lot of like and like popping in his language. The wrist computer has takes a moment to catch up to it, but eventually catches it, and it says, "That's okay." He goes, "If we could partake in the way that you do, we would be so as well. Unfortunately, ours is much slower." He says, "Is the drunk one the leader?"
Yes.
He says, "They always are."
They always are.
He says, "Should we wait for him to cook his meal, or should we entertain now?" Do you guys say anything? Do you wait for her to answer for you?
I'm going to say that they can join us in the meal. We offer them some rum, even if they have to tell us no. And tell them we will share the fish that they so generously helped catch.
Yeah.
Because the captain's too drunk to catch it himself.
Yeah. And I'm standing here thinking, I've drank too much rum. I'm not saying this, am I? I keep my mouth shut and put the rum away.
I'm thinking mermaid, merman. Yeah. Situation here.
So he walks up to a couple of the dagger teams, and he's like, and these guys are like, "Whoa, bro," because he's really tall, at least 6'5", maybe even closer to 7 feet. He's built like a linebacker ate a bunch of CrossFit athletes. And he's like touching the plate carrier. He goes to touch a weapon, and the dagger guy backs up. And then he comes over to you, Sparky, and he touches your plate carrier, and he's like, and he looks down at the rifle, and he says, "What is this?"
This is my sniper rifle.
There are many like it. This one is his.
It's his boom.
Please don't touch. It's very precious to me.
He says, it is powerful."
Yes, it is.
Can you show me?
You want a demonstration shot?
How far does this shoot?
Who wants to be a runner? Do we have a bucket around? Can we do a Quigley shot here?
Yeah, you could. You want to set the bucket to float?
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
Test it on the magic breastplate.
while Chaos Actual is wearing it.
All breasts are magical. Oh, you said breastplate. Sorry, yes. Mine is.
He's drunk enough, he might agree.
He might.
Take off my breastplate?
No,
or
get
he might
shot
just get
wearing
naked.
it. See what happens.
Why would I do that?
He's not that.
Okay, he's not that drunk. All right,
all
toss
right.
a bucket.
So the guy, the guy who has been announced as His Highness, grabs the bucket by the handle and gives it a heaving toss. He launches this thing.
Roll D20.
All right, so It lands 200 yards away. I mean, like he launched this thing. This guy
This
would.
is easy.
You take it. Now keep in mind that the bucket is moving with the surf. So you're gonna take a shot.
Yeah, I'm gonna do my best Matthew Quigley impression and stand there for a minute.
Matthew Quigley
Judging
only
the-
wishes he had a 338 Lapua
Yeah.
Magnum.
This is true. I take my time for a minute, judging the conditions, and I line up, pace myself, control my breathing, and take the shot.
All right, hit it.
And I roll a 7,
Oh,
which is base.
so you pull the trigger. The sand around you just kind of like bounces up, almost a foot from the pressure wave of the shot going off, and the bucket lives through the experience. His the women that are with him you kind of get the impression that they're bodyguards. They start laughing and giggling. A couple of them are pointing in that way that makes men feel uncomfortable.
My mustache just went flaccid.
That's just
He's,
that's a t-shirt.
yep. he says that is very powerful if it were accurate. He says,
I've had too much rum.
this can happen. Yes. Would you
Well,
be willing?
how's my fish doing?
It's cooking.
Okay, I like to when you pan fry fish, you've really got to keep your eye on it. You can't flip it early because you'll pull the skin off. But once the skin, just little, so I am intent on my, not even drinking now. I'm so intent on my pan fry.
Now, did you bring a pan with you, or are you doing it on a rock?
No, I'm a pirate. I always have a pan. I always have one lemon, and I always have a little bit of
Are
salt.
you sure you're a pirate? You're a pirate, not a hobbit.
It's a fine line.
All right, so you guys, what do you call it? You guys are cooking the fish. He throws the shot off. The gentleman kind of like motions off to the side, and one of the women brings up what looks kind of like a musket. But then when he gets close, it's really a very long spear gun with a bayonet on the bottom.
Ooh.
And he says, would you be willing to trade? And, he sights on the bucket and fires, and the spear blasts through the bucket, impaling it, and blowing it into driftwood.
So the mer people have good weapons too.
Very good weapons.
He says, this is the weapon of my personal guard, and we would be willing to trade for the weapon that you have.
Can I take a test shot with it?
Of course. He says, here, let me show you how to load it. And he takes one of the spears. She reaches into a quiver, pulls the spear out, and hands it to him. It's very thin, but it's very rigid. You think that under the water, the dynamics of this would have it cavitate just enough to keep it going straight. He loads it onto the breaching dock and then tells you to pull. There's like two little nubs on the side of the gun that will pull the band back. What's your strength?
My strength is 13.
All right.
Does he get a rum bonus for that?
He does not. Go ahead and
I'm only a little buzzed.
give a strength test. So you want to get a 13 or lower.
I got a 13 exact.
You struggle a little bit. This thing is very hard to pull back. But once you lock it into place, the little studs drop into like a D10, and when it looks like when you pull the trigger, there are two teeth that push the stud up, and then launch the what do you call it?
The spear.
The spear. So do you take a shot with it?
Yes, I take a shot with it.
Go for it.
Does it have a plus anything?
You wouldn't know that until you fired it.
Yeah.
Am I factoring my hit bonuses? Or
Yeah,
actually,
your basic attack bonus. Yep.
So I get a unaltered 13.
it blows one of the pieces of driftwood into even more driftwood. It appears to be very accurate, and according to Chaos Actual, the only way to truly experience this is with rum
I'm glad I've been drinking.
or Moon
I
God
take
Potion.
another quick.
And if he had awesome dice, I bet he'd have gotten a natural 20.
It's possible. So, do you make the trade with him?
I think about it for a minute. Well, our forge is supposedly underwater, and I'm thinking we might be going under there. And if we run into Jaws, this thing's going to be a bad SOB. Reluctantly, I agree. With the permission of my captain, my superiors, I don't want to get chewed out for leaving gear behind.
Do you let him trade the Mark 21 sniper rifle?
Yeah, I'm completely over the military. We're doing pirate.
So he
Guns are very dangerous. As an Air Force
Yes, they
pilot,
are.
I can tell you, no one in the Air Force should have a weapon.
Well, except for the A-10 guys. Yeah.
unless this is a sword.
Yeah, then
This is the sword.
So
yeah, it's not like you get hurt with this thing. How's my fish?
it's delightful, and they start bringing up spices. They bring this thing that looks like a sea urchin,
Yeah,
and when they crack it open, it smells like citrus. And
Wow,
the
baby.
woman motions for you to like spread it over the fish.
I like motioning.
So when they get closer to the fire, Nick, you notice that the skin suits that they're wearing aren't made of like the traditional rubberized material you might see in a dive suit. It looks like tight fitting scales.
Mer people?
You don't know. It is actual clothing. It's not like their skin that you're seeing. It looks like they're wearing like wetsuits, but they're scaled.
Are they
Yoga-
wearing
yoga
mer
pants
people?
for the ocean?
I shall make sure that their chieftain has my best cut of fish. No bones or anything. That's been just perfect. The kind that you just run a little fork into and pull it out, and it's translucent. Yes.
After a little bit of everybody enjoying you guys enjoying the rum and everybody enjoying the fish, he says, while I would love to stay here because all of you are very amusing to me, we have a deal to make, do we not? And your friend Gwendolyn, gives him the north-south, and he says, Leader Power. That is your name?
That is the Pirate Powers.
Pirate Powers, yes.
Pirate Powers. Rock Power.
I would like to make a deal with you. He says this, and he holds up what looks like an old Irish torque, kind of like an open-sided necklace. He says this will allow you to breathe underwater. He says, and one of the ladies brings over a small box which they open, and it looks like more of the suits that they're wearing. He's like, these will allow you to not be crushed by the depths below the sea, as well as survive the bitter cold once the light of the surface leaves you. He says, I understand you have something you need to recover in the depths.
Yes.
My people and I would be more than happy to assist you, seeing as the area it went down has placed your device in enemy hands. We know that they have not taken possession of it, for they don't truly know what it is. Mostly they have just sifted the wreckage and taken many of the crew of your air sailor hostage.
Aha.
Slaves, is that the right word? Maybe.
I don't know. I'm ETS now. Those aren't my problems.
So I'm going to pull out Benny's combat knife because he's got dysentery so much he doesn't need it. It would make an excellent gift, and I'm not giving up mine. And we will gift it to the king in appreciation for his assistance.
You can't give somebody else's gear, even if they're sick. Unless you're going to straight up steal it on them, in which case,
Well, I mean, I outrank him, so I could just for the needs of the airport.
Commandeer it.
Aha.
Give the king some rations.
Well, we want him to like us.
Yeah, not hate it. So he says, we can help you recover your device, but we would like something in return that would be in line with your interests.
Well, I mean, I could sire children for your tribe with your many comely young ladies, but a little drunk tonight, so
Oh my God!
I'll volunteer.
Hornstash is apparently quite capable.
He says.
Oh yeah.
He says there is a ship that sometimes comes through these waters.
Aha, piracy.
We very much want you to act like pirates.
We would like to act like pirates.
So the Sunset's Glory is a medium-sized vessel, roughly a little smaller than the ship that you are currently sailing. They make their way through these waters regularly on the way to avoiding Kobin's Rift and going to the Dakos Pirates. We know that in a day's time they will be passing these straits, and there will be much treasure and slaves on board.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what you
had
do.
me at treasure.
I don't care what you do with the treasure. The slaves I want freed.
Okay, we can do that too. We believe in freedom.
He says, do this, and you will have my gratitude, many riches, and we will give you these items that will help you recover your lost device.
Okay, we shall have at them with broadsides and cutlasses.
He says, that sounds very exciting. And
But we can't sink the ship. We're going to have to board it, it seems like, if you want the slaves that are kept in the lower decks.
I want them freed, yes, sir.
Okay, perfect.
He says, my people will be very grateful. And as I am told, and he looks, he's been kind of talking through Gwen, but this time he looks at the mage, and he says, I've been told I'll owe you one is a currency your people value.
Yes.
He says, then consider this my official I'll owe you one. He's like,
Okay.
as first in line to the throne of my people, my word is my bond and my word is law. He's like, even if I fall in battle, this debt will be kept for you.
Excellent. We shall treasure it always.
Thanks for making that awkward, man boy.
Yeah. Man boy, the hallmark of the Forgotten Ruin. He says, good evening to you, and enjoy the fish. And he begins to walk away, and then stops for a moment and gestures to one of the women. She walks over, and she kind of like puts her hands on your shoulder, Nick.
Me likey.
Her hands kind of like pass by your shoulders as though she's going to like, hold your back and head. And you can feel her grip the handle of your blade.
Aha. Yes. Which blade are you talking about?
Is that a euphemism for something?
Oh, no.
I'm on pins and needles.
She starts whispering, and you can feel.
Oh, I can feel.
you can feel all of the intoxication of the rum leaving you.
Oh, that's
You
not
can
fair.
feel the hair on the back of your neck kind of standing up. And there's a weird vibration in the air. It's almost like somebody's got the bass turned up too high on their stereo. It lasts for a second and then passes, and then she like brings your head down and kisses the top of your head, and she walks over to Wilbur, and she does the same thing. She reaches until she grabs hold of the until she grabs hold of the Hebrew hammer.
Rothman's, I'll say it. Say it.
And it's the same pattern. There's a whisper. You can't really understand it, but you have the same effect. there's like a thrumming in the air, and then she releases and steps away, and then they disappear under the surf.
I feel charged, and so do my weapons.
I feel neglected.
Did I see anything when they were doing that I could observe?
Did you cast your detect magic spell?
No, I got to save that. So
okay. So Sanokin's saying, "Wow, she's a rum killer. She must be evil."
I still have my.
there's always more rum.
All right, so as the waves kind of like come onto the shore a little bit and then recede, there's what looks like a map of the surrounding islands that seems to be traced in the sand.
Okay.
It shows your current location and then a much bigger island to the south with an X on it. And as you're watching, the waves come in again, covering the sand map. And as it passes out, the sand map is gone, replaced by what looks like almost like an aerial or drone shot from a high point in the island. And it shows a ship in the distance. When the wave comes in and out again, it shows the island pulled back, you guys in the Cyclops Whore rounding a part of the island and then firing on the ship.
Okay.
So I'm going to get with the mage and ask him if he can rig up a link of metal between two of the cannonballs so we can take out the masts.
He's like,
if he can.
Do I look like a blacksmith? I mean, I
magical blacksmithing, sir. Have faith in yourself.
No, that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works.
Do we know when this will happen?
Magic users.
They told you that the next day.
Okay.
That probably the ship was going to be passing later on in the day. So you have probably about 16, 18 hours to prep before everything kicks off.
Okay.
Do we have any blacksmiths in the crew?
You do not have any blacksmiths in the crew.
Okay. I have a plan as your captain.
Go for it.
Okay. We get everybody back together, and we're going to go back to the ship because we have much to do. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to put up our most tattered sails. So we're going to look like a wreck. The whole ship's going to look like a wreck. We're going to dress it up like a wreck, and then the party is going to get in a skiff, and we're going to look like we've been set adrift from our ghost ship that's been taken over by ghosts, and we were carrying a great treasure. We're going to get picked up by the Sunset's Glory, and we're going to tell them, if you will return us to our ship, then we will, we'll give you part of our treasure. So they won't take our weapons away. And while we're approaching, they'll see that our crew is all dead, our sails are all tattered. And then at the right moment, we'll go, ha-ha, and then we'll start fighting on the deck. And while we're doing that, our ship will actually fire on the deck while we go release the people. What do you think about that plan?
I still think we want to try to get away where we can take their sails out so they can't flee.
Yeah, we will be able to do that because we'll be on the ship.
Okay, we'll need some debt bricks then.
Some what?
Debt bricks? Debt explosives?
Debt bricks. Do we have those?
I think the Dagger teams would.
Yes. I don't know.
Are we going to keep the Sunset
I'm
sail?
not in the Air Force anymore.
Are we going to keep their ship? First off, is their ship better than ours from what we saw in the pictures?
It was in the sand, and it was kind of dark out, so you don't know.
All right, so we want to be prepared to steal their ship in case it's better. It could be.
I think what we need to concentrate on is how do we get onto their ship from our skiff and have them not take our weapons and make us prisoners.
So do we want to sneak up on them during the night?
No, what we want to do is we want to look like we've been set adrift, and then we want to be able to communicate to them that it's in their interest that they take us back to our ship, telling them about our fantastic treasure we have on that ship.
That works.
So the mage that you guys have with you kind of is like raising his hand, like
yes, you.
He goes, can I help?
Yes, you can. What can you do?
He says, I can do this, and he says a couple of words, and Sparky turns into. It looks like he's been riddled with bullet holes.
Yes.
or arrows or arrow holes. His clothes are tattered. He's got blood coming and dripping out of his mouth. There's a Malinois trying to steal his cookies. Damn dog. So he says, and I can do this for the boat too. Like, he goes, watch this, and he like licks his thumb and goes to press it to your head, Nick. Do you let him?
I do.
He rubs across your eyes, and as his hand passes across your eye, it's like a screen wipe, and it looks like your boat has been beset upon by pirates. That one of the masts is broken and laying down.
Yes,
there's holes in the ship.
This is gonna work well.
He goes, and the best part is, I won't even have to lick anybody.
Yeah.
But I want to know,
That is a good
in
part.
death, how did his porn stash look?
He goes, well, I can, and he snaps, and like half of the stash starts like hanging, like it was
Dirty
fake.
bastard.
He goes,
So what we do is we take our dagger team and we leave them on the boat, and everybody looks dead and wasted because there was a big mutiny and a pirate attack. And then the party, Kuchenmeyer and Lieutenant Rick James and myself, we're the crew, we're the captain and the crew, and we've abandoned our ship. But if they will take us back, we'll share our vast treasure with them. How's that?
Gotta load the cannons before we go.
Let's roll a dice.
oh God,
Oh god.
are you gonna roll a die?
I'm gonna
Love
wait
cannons.
until I'm gonna wait.
Question:
Yes.
did they leave me any ammunition, any spears or harpoons? Or
Oh yeah. They gave you the weapon, and
just clarifying.
you have 12 spears.
Okay.
So now, once we're on the ship, what we have to do, like once they take the three of us, is Sparky a dagger? Is that what he is, or what is he?
He's the dagger's designated marksman.
Okay, so you'll be running the daggers from the ship. Your job is to look dead until we have to have some kind of signal on our ship. Is the sorceress or is the two who's our two NPCs?
So you got Carlo, who's the mage,
Yeah.
and Gwendolyn, who is a druid.
So Gwendolyn would come with us, and Carlo will stay with the dagger. And so we need to be able to give a signal when we're on the ship once we start our surprise attack. Does anybody have anything that can kind of signal?
Can he make some sort of mental link connection where you can talk to him? We'll ask the mage if he can do that.
Well, that's right. We have comms, so we can talk. They don't know about that. Okay, so now we have to divide up actions on the pirate vessel once. So I will distract them with me.
With your rugged good
With my
looks.
me.
With me doing what I do. One of you has to disable their sails, and the other one has to rescue the prisoners. Who wants to do what?
I'll take care of the tactics on these sails.
Okay.
I'll go rescue the prisoners.
What is your plan for the tactics on the sails?
I'll just go ahead and grab my knife
Burn
and
them with oil?
No. Grab my knife
Burn them
and
with oil.
start slicing some ropes so that they suddenly collapse, things would have to get re-rigged for them to be useful again.
Okay, perfect.
You could, worst case scenario, shoot the buckle that the lines run through.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna just cut a rope and the whole thing collapses.
Okay.
At where the buckle is.
And JR, knowing that slaves are held in the lower deck, getting with our first mate, who probably knows of such decking and ways to get there, how will you rescue the prisoners?
Well, I will go in as quietly as I can because I've got my trusty knife, and I'll slit throats and then open the door.
Okay. Do you have any magical powers that could assist?
I can detect magic. Oh, hold on. I can learn a different spell, right? I don't have to just use the one, or am I limited to just the one in the spell book?
You can learn. Well, you have the detect magic, and he would have taught you two other ones that you need to pick.
Charm person. I got this.
Okay.
You could charm the guard to go down and release the prisoners.
Yes.
Yes. So
All right.
that's our plan, Dungeon Master.
All right. So you got yes.
One suggestion: can we load the cannons with the canister shot and clear the decks? at some
We'll
point.
be on
Hopefully-
those decks. Maybe
Well, hopefully, guys will be below deck when we just finally
maybe
pop
yeah.
off a
Well,
few.
maybe we could fire at a section of the ship where we're not at. So like, let's make sure we're not fore. Let's stay aft.
So we've got multiple cannons. Just load half with the rocks for grape shot and half with ball.
Yes, but let's do fore and not aft.
Correct.
And balls.
Balls. All right, so you guys.
Fore, not aft. Got it, Captain.
Fore, not aft.
Aft, not fore. Okay.
You got Air Force guys talking Navy talk. Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is going to be brutal. All right, so you guys rig the ship. You spend a few hours, doing your thing and loading cannons, getting your spells in order, getting people set up for where they are. The day kind of rotates. Do you take any kind of rest plan or anything like that, or do you just stay up the whole time and whatever happens happens?
Oh, we all rest.
I'll drink a
ready.
little and close my eyes.
I'm going to rest and sober up.
All right. So a couple hours goes by. You guys get a few hours of rest. Cam comes up to you, wakes you up, Nick, and he's like, "We're getting close, and your nature woman has said that the sea is talking to her, and your target approaches."
Okay. Then Nature Woman, Lieutenant Rick James, and Booger, we will now get into the skiff and go out to intercept the ship so that we can lay our story on them.
Okay. So you guys start rowing out there. As you leave, Carlo affects that spell, which turns you guys ragged. But one of the things you also notice is that even though you can still feel the weight of your weapons, all of your weapons appear to be hidden.
Okay, perfect.
So, and as you look back, there's a second where you kind of pass through what you know to be true and what you know to be a lie, as the ship goes from the pristine order it was in to wrecked and ruined and kind of just floating there.
I love it when a plan comes together.
You're kind of drifting and hanging out and doing your thing, and
Drinking. I did bring a little cask.
And you see the ship off in the distance start coming in. Sparky, where are you on the deck of the Cyclops whore?
Isn't he collapsed?
He's
I think we're probably all playing dead, but I'm up on the where the wheel is and letting the
Poop
ship away
deck.
where I can keep an eye on the poop deck, keeping an eye on the horizon and the ship.
The helm.
So you're doing your thing, and you can see the ship coming off in the distance, and it looks like it was giving the island a slightly wider berth, but then it changes course and looks like it's heading toward the drifting skiff.
We signal frantically, or I have Manboy signal frantically.
I signal frantically.
Oh, good.
My dignity is long gone.
All right. Yeah, you notice the boat changing direction, so that not a big deal. It does look a little bit smaller than the one that you guys are in. Maybe like a light freighter. And you see people. You can see a lot of commotion out on the deck. As the boat starts coming in, you see a guy kind of like hang off the front of the ship, the prow of the ship, and he has what looks like a megaphone, and he says, "Ho there!"
Oh, we all rescued! Thank you! And I even shed tears, which are really the salt water that I've thrown in there to my eyes to say, "Thank you for rescuing us! We've run afoul of piracy and mutiny, and our great treasure has been lost."
It takes them about 20 minutes to get up to you. It looks like they're fighting a bit of the current, but when they do, they pull up beside you. You get a couple of guys with gaff hooks. They pull you into the side of the ship and throw down ropes and have you secure the ship to the side of theirs. They throw down a rope ladder to help you up.
I shall go up first as the captain, and I shall immediately drop to my knees and thank them with heartfelt tears and rending and gnashing of my teeth.
He says, you meet a gentleman that looks, the rest of the crew looks very scruffy and kind of, very seaworthy. But there's a gentleman in a bright green tunic. And he's standing there with his arms behind his back. He's got his chin up and his chest out, and he says, "Declare yourselves."
I am Captain Phineas Theravius of the Golden Parrot of Ankylor, and we were just coming around the island when we ran afoul of island pirates, and our own crew mutinied, and the treasure that we carry, the vast treasure that we carry for the Sultan, is now in their hands, and their sorcery most foul. So the command staff and myself, we set ourselves adrift to save our lives, and now we must go to the Sultan and report we have lost his fantastic treasure of jewels and rubies and gems and magic swords and potions and coins and silver and erotic spices that enhance pleasure.
And right as you got to rubies, there was a guy behind him. He's kind of got like a set of spectacles with that contrast with the entire rest of everything he's wearing. He's kind of wearing like a vest with no with no like shirt underneath it. He's got baggy pants and like pirate boots on. But he looks jacked, like he could rip a Volkswagen in half. And he whips out like this little notebook and starts jotting things down as you're listing them off. And he's like, "And spices that enhance pleasure." And then
it's Mr. Smee.
The gentleman who greeted you on the deck, he says, "And this boat is lost?"
The boat is now in possession of enemy hands. It is my duty as a representative of the Grand Sultan of Ankylor to go and commission a navy to come back and get this most valuable prize. They can't have it because it's locked by a magical code only I know down in the hold. But if we can recapture the ship with the navy that I must go hire, then of course there will be a bounty paid out. But the main thing is the Sultan's rich array of pleasure-enhancing spices and erotic gems will be once again in the Sultan's hand, his vast harem of 1,000 comely women from 1,000,000 lands.
And you see that dude like furiously writing, and through your earpiece on your, because you guys have been learning to speak like the local trade language, which is what you're kind of doing now, but the dude is like furiously writing, and he says in a language that the translator picks up as like a mix of several different languages. He says, "I don't care what they're carrying, sir. We need to keep this guy, if not for anything but entertainment." And the gentleman doesn't, his affectation doesn't change. He just kind of like looks back and then looks back to you again, and he says, "If I had the resources to recover your ship, what would be our recompense?"
Well, that is amazing. Amazingly fortuitous for all of us. But I would not do that to your fine seaworthy crew. They have foul sorceries there. They have men who can cast spells. These men had jewels on their fingers of fantastic worth. There were 3 of them. They were wizardly, they had pointy hats, and they had large money purses that were just bulging with coin. And there would be no way to stop them. But if we were to make such, I raise my sword, and I'll get you, you foul bastards! And at them. I'll be back with someone. And I have spittle and everything. I'm still carrying my cask under one arm.
So,
but if you wanted to, I mean, now would be the time to strike. Their magics are low, if such a thing exists. But I could give you what the Sultan would demand would be 20% of what a fortune I estimate well over to be 2.5 million Spanish quatroons.
I
don't know what that is in the local currency, but it would fill the size of a small inn all the way to the rafters or to the cleavage of the most comely maiden.
It would be many quatroons.
So the first thing you notice is when you pull out your sword, the entire crew backs up.
Wait, which sword?
Yeah. I assume you're pulling out the bastard sword?
Both are impressive.
Because all of your weapons were hidden by magic. So when the sword comes out, they freak. They start backing up like, "Oh my god!" Right? So then he just holds his hands up. He holds his hand up and he puts his head down, and everybody kind of freezes in place. And he says, "Are you a wizard?"
No, I'm the Sultan's chief captain. This is my royal scepter of office. I am the merchant admiral of Cornier.
He says, "One moment." And he looks to the guy with the glasses and he says, "Dove adrudan." And the guy runs off. And your what do you call it? Your risk communication systems pick it up as a smattering of Gaelic and Old Italian. The guy comes back leading a dude in kind of those baggy pirate pants, but he's not wearing any shoes. He's covered in tattoos. He's got the Viking braided beard all the way down to the center of his chest with
we got a magic dude coming,
braids and stuff like that, and he's covered in those fetishes. He bypasses the guy in the green tunic and walks up to you and just starts sniffing you.
I reach into my pocket, feel for the first dice I grab, and accidentally drop it on the deck, rolling a 5 on a 12-sider.
A 5 on a 12-sider? Hold on. Nothing happens yet.
Okay.
So he kind of and he goes to the next person in line, which is Wilbur. And as he approaches, Wilbur, Rick James, you're having me repeat myself. As you're standing there and he goes to approach you, you start hearing those whispers in the back of your mind. But then you hear almost Gwendolyn's voice, kind of also trying to compete for your attention.
And I try to focus on Gwendolyn.
You hear, "Don't move." And he kind of sniffs you up and down, and then he sits there and he reaches up and he holds one of the fetishes. He pulls it out of a pocket. And he says, "Where did you get this?"
I found it on a beach, abandoned.
"Can I have it?"
What can I have in return?
He says, "Your boat." And he gets right into your face. He smells of rum and fish that have been in his teeth for far too long.
I'm so glad I'm over here.
I say in the unknown language of pigeon, "Et him lavit hay."
All right, sure, you can have it.
He says, "Done." And he looks to the guy in the green and he says, "And done." He says, "Your boat shall be yours. Your boat shall be yours." And he goes to walk off and he snaps his fingers. And up from the hold, you see 4 men come out. They're wearing like wooden breastplates that have been highly lacquered with kind of like laminated shoulder guards. They're carrying short swords at their side, and they're carrying something that you seem to recognize. They look like almost like very small kite shields, almost bucklers, with what look like fangs protruding out of the front of the shield. They walk up, and he gestures off to the boat. And you've seen these shields because you've dealt with these guys before. The last time you were when you guys went into the hold and decimated that witch, she had 2 of these guys with her. One of the guys, he like gestures like, no problem, I got this. He jumps off the ship, leading with the shield. He's got his arms outstretched, and he seems to elongate as he hits the water. There's a much bigger splash. Nayland in the chat is saying, I come into Nick being sniffed. Oh, my. There's a much bigger splash than a man his size should have made. And as you're watching him kind of like descend under the water, you see a shape 20, 30 feet long, drifting under the water and heading for your ship.
Well,
Can I see that?
I turn to the man in green.
Mm-hmm.
I say, I would need to be boarding this ship myself. I would like to lead the boarding action if we're going to come alongside.
Oh, we're definitely going to come alongside, sir.
Good.
Our friends from the Black Grove have booked passage upon my ship, and I find them very useful in situations like this because of their affinity to all this. And he rubs his hand along the handrail and kind of like senses the grime of the ocean. He goes, they're very attuned to nature.
I whisper through my comms and give a heads up to Sparky, saying, "Incoming."
He says, and I find them very terrifying to anyone on the wrong side of this rail. So if any of your pirates are left behind, I'm sure they're going to have a very, very bad day.
A broad smile blossoms, and I cackle wildly and say, I like the cut of your jib, whiskey and treachery. And I offer him some of my whiskey.
He says, I will take you on the treachery. He says, the whiskey will wait until after we have your ship and my reward.
More for me, then. And I seem to drink a lot, but I don't.
As you're drinking, Wilbur, you get those heavy, those multitude of whispers. It almost sounds like a crowd behind you. The guy with all the tattoos puts his hands up, and it's really nice out. It's no clouds in the sky. Within seconds of him raising his hands, clouds form out of nowhere, and a heavy, dense fog rolls past your ship, heading toward the Cyclops whore.
Oh, great.
You see this, Sparky, and then you start seeing the shape in the water. It's easily 40 feet long.
How far away is the other ship?
You're probably about 200-300 yards.
Okay. Could I have seen some of the interactions through a telescope? On the side, just kind of keep an eye on it.
Yeah. You have a rangefinder you can look through.
Okay. Can the guns depress enough to take a shot?
You talking about your Mark 18? I mean your Mark 21?
I'm talking about the cannons.
What do you want to take a shot at? What's in the water?
Yeah, I'm not taking a shot yet, but I'm asking for planning reasons.
Are you talking? Will the illusion suppress the shot? What are you trying to do with the cannons?
You have a 240. He has a 240 too, right?
Yeah, the Dagger team has the 240 on board.
Yeah. I'm wondering in a last ditch scenario if that whatever that shade coming in the water is, can we take pop shots at it? Because as much as I want to support my team, we may have to defend ourselves against that thing too.
As far as like using small arms, it looks like it's traveling too deep. You're not going to be able to get any effective shots on it. Unless you have.
What about that spear?
Well, you know what I was going to say. Unless you have a weapon that's capable of.
Oh, that's in mind too. I'm thinking about all my options. How far away is it currently?
About halfway in between you and the other ship.
I through my comms, kind of whisper to Sparking and suggest we may want to stealth take out some of that, that's coming towards you. They won't know anything about the spear.
Yeah.
While you guys back on the deck of the other ship of the Sunset, the guy in the green tunic, the captain, he says, "So what else can we offer you to make you more comfortable while we recover our friends here recover your ship?"
I personally don't have any trust of these guys letting me below deck because I might not get back above deck. So I don't want to move.
I would like a tour.
You would like a tour?
Yes, I've never been on such a fine ship as this.
Your ship was not fine before it became that?
It was ornate, way too fancy, way too posh. Yours looks like a real man ship. I want to see what a real man ship looks like.
Manboy loves man ships. Manboy loves man things.
He says, fine, take him. And the gentleman with the two spectacles is like, follow me, sir. I shall show you. This is the rudder. This is the sail. These are the planks. Let me show you. Do you need to go below deck?
I wanted to see everything.
As you wish, sir. And he starts to lead you below deck.
Okay.
I will stay near the troops drinking that are about ready to board, and I will tell them of the riches of Ankalor and the many fine 6-armed, 7-boobied whores. What the pleasures that a man can be had that are so great they turn him blind with envy, and the erotic spices that do things of wonder, and I shall use my, as you guys can all see, my entertaining and my tales to basically distract them and basically do that thing where men start thinking with the wrong head. Not pay attention to the whiskey and treachery I'm performing.
So a lot of them are interested in your tale. They've never heard of this mystical land of Ankalor and are kind of intrigued by the 6-armed, 7-boobied women. But speaking of which, Nick, did you want to just give a brief shout out to our show sponsor, Galaxy's Edge? Speaking of Ankalor,
listen, honestly, if you have not read the absolutely best space marine, space opera, science fiction series out there, you're really missing out. It's really a lot of fun. It's a movement there. I think most people in here have read it. It's really enjoyable. Actually, you know what is going on right now that's really fun for everybody? If you liked The Mandalorian, the Tyrus Rex Contracts and Termination series is available on Amazon right now. The first 3 books, I mean, think of this as like the greatest space bounty hunter that you've ever read, and you get all 3 books for 99 cents, and it's over on Amazon, and really you should go pick that up right now. It is a lot of fun. You can start with if you wanted to get into the main series, you could start with Legionnaire, but it's just a really fun set of novels. It's a fun community, a lot of fun people. Everybody here are basically in the community, and we have inappropriate memes. We have fun like this. We're really kind of cool, okay people. We're probably a little too fixated on firearms and guns, but never. Yeah, we have a lot of fun with guns. So if you're that kind of scallywag, or I don't know what the female scallywag is, scallywagga,
Scallywanch.
If you're a scallywench or a scallywag, you're gonna love Galaxy's Edge. I promise, money back guarantee.
Awesome.
I don't even know how I could get you your money back, but that seems to work for people who sell stuff.
Right.
Me and my mustache endorses this pitch.
The porn stash endorses Galaxy's Edge. Lieutenant Rick James endorses it. It helps him. Our DM, he actually owns one of the characters, so you occasionally hear that character bark.
It's awesome. Yeah.
Wait, is this some sort of new freaky thing you got yourself involved in, Walt? Or
I have a 70-pound flying chainsaw that barks. So,
JR's dog just farts and howls.
So you've met him.
So you guys are getting your new friends engrossed in the tales. The other kind of captain with that fang shield is studying you guys intently. He hasn't moved, and he just appears to be kind of giving you the stink eye.
I'm giving him the stink eye as well, and trying to keep my attention peeled to what's going on between our ships, because I'm waiting for Sparky to go do something bad to the elongated thing that's heading his way.
I'm getting ready to do that.
So while you guys are kind of watching the interaction of all of this, Sparky, a fog rolls in, and you can't see that whatever it is under the water anymore.
Oh. Well, I hear dice roll. That's never good. I'm going to direct the dagger teams to set up the 240 on the poop deck. I'm thinking Kraken.
Okay. Nick, you feel something in your pocket.
Really?
Where all the dice are being kept?
Yes.
You feel something moving around.
Well, while recounting the tale of the greatest whore of all of Ankalar, Illuria of the 8 boobs,
My
hair is so flaxen and golden and so erotically spiced that men lose their minds at the very sight of her. Titanic as her features are. Why, you've never seen a booty so large. And then I'll slip my hand into my pocket and see which dice be a rattling.
It's the D6.
Aha!
So you had pulled the D12 earlier, and now you have the D6.
All right. What's going on in this situation? And I'm just going to keep shaking it in my hand as I talk.
It falls out of your hand. Tell me what you get.
I got a 5.
You're starting to, like, the crew. You know, there's 2 types of crew on the boat that appear to kind of be on the deck at the current time. There's the guys that are with the crazy looking what do you call it? The crazy looking tattooed dude. And then there's the guys that are like appear to be crew of the ship. The crew of the ship seem very entertained and very interested in what you're saying. So they're kind of moving up to you. The guy in the green
Netflix viewer.
What is it?
They're your average Netflix viewer.
Yeah,
they're being lured in by my cheap stories of carnal neuroticism.
And they're kind of like, they're kind of into it. They're nudging each other like, oh, could you handle a woman like that?
Yes.
Hell, he couldn't even handle a man like that.
Chaos Actual is the Netflix of D&D.
So he, they're kind of surrounding you and stuff like that. And as that second die drops, the guys who are beside you, like Wilbur and Lieutenant Rick James and Gwendolyn, they see the dice disappear, and slowly coalescing in its place is a picture of a woman, almost translucent, and kind of like in like belly dancing gear. Right, but it looks wispy, almost like a faded out hologram. Right?
So point of order, Wilbur is with him. I'm below decks.
And okay, correct. So as this is happening, the guy in the green tunic starts backing up. And one of the guys is like, "Oh my God, he's a bard! He's a storyteller! This is amazing!" And they're totally into this. Oh no!
We've all been at that club when this song comes on. We've all been there.
So as this is all going on, the woman starts like getting up, and she's she starts almost dancing a little bit, and everybody's really into this because they think this is some some sort of magical thing going on. And then as she kind of drifts across the drifts across the deck, and like does that thing where she like rubs across the guy's guy's forehead down his chin and holds up his chin, kind of like hey there big boy, and then he starts convulsing. His eyes go wide. He starts like shaking as though he's in a like those you go to a hardware store and they put the can of paint in that thing and it shakes it really fast.
Paint shaker.
That's what starts happening to his body. The people in the rest of the deck start backing up. The crazy tattooed dude who was about to cast another spell gets distracted, loses it, and starts shouting profanities. And as his skin starts like melting away and drying up to a husk, almost becoming a living mummy in front of you. As this happens, her countenance changes as well, and she becomes more banshee than sultry woman. And she lunges forward, and as she passes through him, his soul gets dragged away from his body. She arcs her back, and the soul entering her body refreshes her, almost making her back into that young countenance again. And then she looks down to the rest of them. Her eyes glow this vile green, and she says, "You're all doomed."
That's when I scream whiskey and treachery and draw my sword.
Roll for initiative. Let's see. Oh, who's
2.
rolling? What'd you get?
2.
Oh, good. I got a 3. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to win that contest. And sure enough. So let's see. Real quick, I have to do a check. Half of the contingent of the boat jump from the ship into the water. So all of the deckhands, the sailors, and stuff like that, they jump from where you guys are to the water. Let's see. Hold on, I'm gonna share this so you can see what's going on, and boom.
Wouldn't it be good to see where go ahead.
All right, so you have the boat. So you got the guy in the green tunic right here. He was surrounded by these deckhands, but they took off. So you have the dude right here who is, the crazy witch dude. You have one that was sitting on the rear of the ship, almost behind the poop deck, who has come forward to see what's going on. And this one's a female, similarly dressed. She's wrapped in linens along the top, but the rest of her is exposed with from the waist up, covered in tattoos, malevolent kind of look in her eyes. You got these guys with the shields right here. These guys are deckhands who kind of turn on you, about to do some nasty, and then you got the guys with the fang shields.
So turn on us or the banshee person thing?
They turn on you guys because Mr. Chaos Actual has shouted whiskey and treachery and drawn his sword. All right, so that's going to be Rock Powers, Booger are on deck. There we go. I'll move you from the Cyclops Whore. That's a damn fine boat, don't you think?
I think so.
Damn fine.
Right. So
outstanding.
If I survive this, I'm going to steal it and leave you guys on the little one.
All right. So
And take all the rum.
I take all the rum. All right,
I'm
so
both at home.
what are you guys? I'm sorry, it's their turn. That's right. Hold on a sec. Gotta move this back because I just effed up. All right, so the dude in the green, he runs to the forecastle of the ship, getting out of the way. These guys have abandoned ship. You got these guys with axes. One of them rushes the banshee-looking woman. He misses and passes through her. Does not make his saving throw, and his soul is ripped from his body to be inhaled like she were sucking on the smoke of the most amazing tobacco. The dude in the what do you call it? In all the tattoos, he speaks a word, and she kind of glares at him, but nothing happens. One of the guys with the shields covers his face with the shield, and as he turns away from the shield, he grows 4 times his size. He has the bottom half of a bear, but from his shoulders down they look feathered, and his head is this massive owl head.
Uh-oh.
There you go.
He's an owlbear.
It roars with the countenance of both a bear and like a high-pitched screech as it slams onto the deck, shattering boards and turning into this massive creature. The guy behind him... Whoops, wrong button. The guy behind him right here, he draws what looks like a black sword. It looks more like it's carved than forged. And he's got one of those shields as well, and he kind of like holds the shield up and puts the sword through the fangs, aiming at the ghost. These guys up here, they surround this other tattooed person, this other woman. What do you guys do? So we'll start with Rock Powers.
I've drawn my sword. I am going to run for the back of the ship.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yes.
So my task when I got below decks is the minute we were below decks near where the prisoners were held was to charm and turn the guards. So would I have done that yet, or do I need to roll for that because they could potentially be sent to aid?
When you get downstairs, the cargo hold's pretty big. It's what do you call it? You got all sorts of chests and barrels and tied bundles, but in the back you have big, giant cages. Tons of like people down in there, and you got people on hammocks and stuff like that, and what looks like kind of like a picnic table in the middle. They jump down after hearing commotion and start like looking around and looking to the dude with the glasses as if to say, "What the hell's going on?"
Okay. So at that point, they're within 120 foot radius, so I should be able to get all of them. I am going to cast Charm on them.
All right. So they now need to make a saving throw.
Ooh, that's a good roll.
What are you talking about?
Do I have to roll to hit?
Why would you have to roll to hit?
I don't know. I just wanted to roll my dice.
No, not yet. No, they when you cast a spell, you tell me what spell you're casting.
Save that roll.
Yeah, you save that roll. The 4 members of the crew that are below deck seem more sure they should be looking at you now. And the guy that's behind you with the glasses pulls out this very, very big Bowie-looking knife.
Indeed.
All right, that goes to Booger.
Well, I am actually going to go. I'm going to do what Rock Powers did. I'm actually going to race toward the back, And actually, I'm gonna race toward the tattooed guy. Now, is the tattooed guy focused on the Banshee woman?
He is. So he's right here.
Yeah.
Okay. And then he's got a companion, a female companion. She's up there.
Right.
She's focused on you guys. He's focused on the Banshee.
All right. And where did Rock Powers end up?
So Rock is right here.
Okay. After he ran back toward the back.
Oh, he's running toward the back of the boat.
I thought that's what his move was.
Rock, is that what you're doing? You're going toward the back?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right. So what are you doing?
I'm gonna do something similar, and surreptitiously put my hand to the hammer. I'm waiting for them to make a move. I want to pretend to be afraid of the Banshee and hoping that these people will save me.
All right. So where are you moving?
To the back, kind of mirroring what Rock is doing.
All right. These guys are gone. They jumped overboard. All right. So these guys are moving toward the Banshee. They seem to be dealing with that. This guy has turned into a giant owl bear. And he has stepped in front of the tattooed dude. You got two guys here, and then you got another guy here, and they seem to be protecting the witch that's in the back. All right, so that's all you're doing so far?
I'm waiting for the first move. Though I would yell and go, "Can you guys save us?" She's gonna kill us all. So something along those lines to indicate that we're on the same team. We're both should be focused on the one real threat.
So as that happens, the defenders seem to kind of seem unsure because it looked like they were kind of looking at you like you're the problem. And then after you say that and start retreating to the back of the boat, they look confused. The Banshee knocks down another one, sucking him dry, and she kind of circumnavigates the entire boat, screaming the entire way, and then right as she gets to just before Rock Powers, she vanishes in like a big cloud of smoke, and the two dice resume their form and just roll back toward your feet. They stop right at your boot.
I scoop them up.
All right. That brings us to.
Now the attention will be back to us.
Yeah, pretty much. As you scoop them up.
I know, Rothman. Throw flasks of oil.
Hey, don't put it past me. I was thinking about it.
Fire on ships is not a good thing.
So,
especially wooden ones.
While this is going on, Sparky, you hear a lot of splashing just off the side of the boat.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see anything because you can barely see 5-6 feet in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's it. Nothing else happens. Do you do anything?
A question.
Yep.
Would I have any kind of access to any kind of thermal imaging?
In your viewfinder, yeah, you could have a FLIR.
Okay. I'm going to survey the area around me and try to pierce the fog to see if there's anything out there that I can actually see through.
Okay.
There's a large heat bloom under the water.
So I send a question and go, hey, can you use a FLIR in conjunction with your magic spear thing?
That's what I'm thinking. That's my next question.
You can see this thing under the water. It's huge.
Is it big enough I can shoot in a general direction and have a hope of hitting it? With a penalty, maybe?
You can give it a try.
I'm going to do that. I'm going to lean over and and I roll a free.
All right, so you fire off into the fog. The
Bounces off the water.
Yeah, it bounces off the water. It's kind of difficult because the scope that you're using isn't affixed.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah,
so you're kind of like doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so
it's nothing.
Yeah. The spear hits the water and doesn't really do that much.
Well, beyond that, I'll instruct the dagger team to be ready to shoot things.
All right. So that brings us to Booger. What are you doing?
I give a sidelong glance to Rock Powers and see if I get a cue from the captain.
I would go ahead and disable this ship as planned. And to that end, I reach over and I grab one of the guy lines that connect with the mainsail, and I chop it with my sword, and I hold onto it, and I swing up to the forecastle, hopefully being acrobatic enough to land right behind the captain, and then plunge my sword, screaming lucky number 7 right into his back.
Ooh. All right. Let's do some math.
Yeah, I love math.
All right.
I mean, if we're going to do whiskey and treachery, we've got to get the treachery just right.
All right. Go ahead and give me a roll. First, a dexterity check to make sure you can do all that swingy arrow Flynn stuff.
Pulling out my Forgotten Ruin dice pad made by the wonderful Ted Lehman that always rolls quite well. So Dex, we're rolling under the Dex.
Correct.
Dex is 15. 14.
Nice. All right. So you grab the rope, swing off to the side of the boat, swing around all of the mayhem, land next to the captain, and you're going to plunge your blade into him.
Screaming lucky number 7 to activate it.
Just like before, the ghostly letters kind of run their length up the blade. You can feel it get lighter. And you feel that, just that kind of like, it's kind of like when you put your hands on a Vulcan cannon for the first time. You just know.
You just know. It was meant to be.
It was meant to be. Go ahead.
1. Oh. No, wait. No, it is a 1. I thought it might be a 7. No, it's a 1.
Oh, no.
It's a 1.
Roll a percentile dice.
Uh-oh. Oh? If it's an O, I'm screwed, huh?
Not necessarily. It depends what it is.
Oh, fuck. It was an OO.
What is it? Like 100?
Oh
my God!
Captain Jackhammer.
well, actually, what is a 00? Is it 0?
Double 0 is bad.
Yeah, that's 100. That's that's not good.
I know it's bad
Bad as it gets.
I had these tables too.
Don't pull any punches. Give it to me straight.
No, I'm giving it to you straight. I just. Well, first of all, I need a saving throw.
We're going to make that saving throw actually with a 16.
Okay. And this isn't going to be as bad, I hope. So you energize the blade. You just feel this thing slicing through the air. And as you go to plunge it down into his back, he sees you at the last second and what? You strike a part of the rigging. And as you go to pull the blade around, there's a cracking sound and the blade snaps.
Oh!
There's an explosion that takes off the front half of the boat.
Shit.
The dude in the green, he goes flying in a tumble of arms and just decimation. The guy, you go tumbling off the side of the ship. But as you're this is just as bad for them as it is for you. Just as you're tumbling off the side of the ship, you come face to face with what had changed into the water. The dude with that shield comes out of the water right as the forecastle explodes. It gets perforated with giant beams of timber. There's pieces of sail on fire that wrap around its face or one of its faces. It gets shredded by the explosion. And you go out into the drink over here, and now the boat is like sinking.
With JR down inside of it with all our slaves?
Now, JR, I need a saving throw.
I'm so glad I'm over on the horror.
What?
I can read that so many
Never
ways.
have I been so glad to be on a horror.
I made the saving throw.
All right. You take 6 points of damage as you're blasted into one of the support beams.
So did I make my charm?
Oh yeah, they're you look up and you're like, you hit the water that's coming into this place, right? And you come up all like, and as you look, you see the dude with the glasses has this huge like Bowie knife up, like he was going to stab you with it, and he's impaled by a piece of timber, and he's like looking down as if to say like, how? He hits the water. The other like guys that you had charmed, one of them looks to you and says, "Captain, what should we do?"
Let's save the slaves. And then I grab the guy with the Bowie knife. I grab his Bowie knife. It's ours now. And I slap it into my belt.
All right. One of the guys down below says, "Captain, we're in luck. I have the keys."
All right, let's unlock this and get them above deck as quickly as we can.
One of the guys in the cells is wearing like that like skin suit material, and he's ramming on the cage but he's yelling something at you.
Can I read his lips?
Yes, and it's to you it seems like total gibberish.
All right. Well, I point to that cage that he's in and tell him that one first.
All right. So they start unlocking him and stuff like that, and he runs over and he starts like talking to you, but you can't understand him, and he keeps changing languages, but you can't seem to grab a hold of what he's saying. But he keeps pointing at like where all the water's coming in.
Okay, I nod and point to it too.
He nods, grabs you, right? And the dude like grabs your jaw, and he like puts his mouth on your mouth.
Whoa.
And breathes very, very hard into your mouth. And then
so I am in the Navy.
Yeah, exactly.
Now you're a gay pineapple.
Shut your jaw, and you feel sick for a moment, and then he grabs you and dives under the water. As that happens, and you're just like, the cold of the water causes you to take a quick breath, but you don't get that stinging, burning sensation. Instead, you take what appears to be a normal breath. You see the what do you call it? His feet behind him change shape and elongate until you have what looks like a giant tail behind him. So he's just like he's just turned into like the male equivalent of a mermaid.
I point back to the ship and I try to gesture to indicate we've got to save the other prisoners.
All right, he guides you back up to the surface and then dives back down.
Okay.
All right, so that brings us to Booger.
All right. So what's the state of the witch and the two people in front of her?
The two people in front of her have moved just a little bit to kind of stabilize her. The owl bear dude has morphed back, and looks like he got impaled by a whole bunch of timber, so he's in rough shape. The druid dude looks over at you, and he holds up that crow thing that you gave him. What are you gonna do?
All right. So Can I guess the question would be: can I do two things at once?
Does one of them involve throwing flaming oil?
Yes,
Might
actually,
as
it
well.
does.
Might as well now. Ship's
I
gone.
knew it. It wouldn't
Yeah.
be. It wouldn't be D&D unless you threw flaming oil.
So what I would like to do is draw my hammer,
Mhm.
activate it, toss some oil, some of the flaming oil toward my, well, I guess if I'm facing south, toward my right, and then attack the druid that's to my left.
If you do that, you're going to be at -4 on your primary hand and -6 on your secondary hand.
All right, that's gonna suck.
Do it. Be epic.
Okay, so actually, let's do it. My first attack is with the oil.
Yep. And where's the oil going?
Yeah, I'm aiming straight for the witch. You know,
Okay,
hopefully,
gotcha.
hoping for a large splash zone. And that, I don't know if I assume I have to do a roll. So that was a 15.
15? All right.
Yes.
Let's see. 15. Yep. So you splash oil and the oil ignites.
All right. And so I activate the hammer and go after the druid, and I got a 14.
He sidesteps you, and you kind of crack in part of the boat. So that's gonna be that. All right. Now it's on them. The druid that you just what do you call it? That you just attacked.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of he takes that like little fetish. He whispers something, and now he throws it at you, and it explodes into a murder of crows. Hundreds of crows appear out of nowhere and start attacking you like a cyclone. Give me a saving throw.
All right. I got an 8.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah.
The crows like fly in from all directions. You're getting pecked. You're getting scratched by claws. There are impact strikes. You take 9 points as these things kind of like attack you and start ripping you up. The other witch, as the fire burns, she holds her hand up, and the fire kind of like all that oil kind of withdraws from the deck and starts crawling up her body into her outstretched hand.
Great.
That brings us to JR. You're outside on the deck.
With the prisoners.
Yes.
I'm
Well,
gonna
you're outside the deck. You're floating outside the boat.
Okay, I'm going to order the charmed crewmen to go defend our people.
All right. So they're going to swim out with you.
Well, they're going to go back above deck if possible, if they can get to it, to fight with our peeps.
Who's that? The charmed people.
Yeah, the charmed guards. There should be 2 left, right?
There's well, you had 4 total. They swam out with you.
Okay, yeah, I'm
Right.
going to send the 4 that aren't the prisoners. I'm going to send them to climb back on deck and fight the crew.
One of them says, "Why would we do that?"
Because they're attacking our captain. They're mutinying.
They're not mutinying. They're attacking those people who are attacking us. Look at that.
Yeah, but you're one of the us. You work for us now. You joined the rightful side.
No, that's not how this works. What are you talking about? He goes, "Oh my God, you're with them."
So the charm wore off. Oops.
So the way this works is you can give them commands to kind of help you, but the second you start going against something that is in their interest, it's not total mind control. It's it's charm. It's like
Influence.
It's an influence. Yeah, there you go. So so now you have one guy in the drink with you. That is what do you call it? Seems like he's about to get real hostile. Rock, what are you doing?
Well, it would seem that my work is done here. The only thing that I actually care about is I would like to save to see if I kept a hold of my cask.
Go ahead.
15. I think that makes a saving throw, right?
You do. You
Okay.
have retained the cask, and it is now your flotation device. You see Rick James float up beside you, along with one of those like the people that you had encountered on the beach. He keeps surfacing and bringing more people out from the hull.
Okay, I will lead them. We will form like a line of rescue back to the Cyclops whore.
Okay, and the boat is starting to tip. It's starting to like withdraw and sink. That brings us to Wilbur.
All right, so I'm assuming the two magical folk are in a hostile posture toward me.
Yeah.
All right, so I am going to. I assume I can dive off of the side, the side that's facing our boat.
So if you look at
Cyclops.
the screen,
Right.
right, you're right here, and you're facing this guy that you just took a swipe at.
Right.
So if we zoom out a little bit, right,
Yeah.
there's where you guys. That's how you guys are facing.
So can I take a running leap and off of this boat and into the water?
Yes.
All right, so that's what I'm actually going to go do. I'm going to go start heading back to our boat.
All right. So you're going to jump into the water.
Yeah, again, get out of range or whatever.
The regular crew are like jumping overboard. They want no part of this. You see, right as you land, you see the blown off heads of that Hydra just kind of like reverting back into a dude, and he's just kind of like floating there right next to you. Sparky, the fog between the two ships seems to clear, and you can see all this mayhem that just happened.
That I accomplished.
No, I take credit for it. I take credit for telling the big thing.
Can we get to 240 to wipe the deck?
Yeah.
I don't think there's any friendlies on the deck still. Are there?
Nope, all the friendlies are in the
good.
water.
Yes. Our biggest problem now is recovering treasure.
I mean, it's not like we have a cannon or anything.
And we have scuba now. We have the equivalent of scuba.
Well, hopefully.
Yeah.
What's still active on the enemy deck?
So if we zoom in a little bit,
One of the witches, right?
right? So we have a
two.
witch here, right? Male dude, and then we have his partner here, who is currently gathering all the fire that Wilbur just threw into her palm.
She's probably gonna send it over.
And then you got two of those guards with it looks almost like a triangular shield that is more narrow toward the wrist, but it ends in like two large fangs.
Okay. It'd be nice if someone would give me a sit rep, but yeah. I ordered the machine gun team to open up on the enemy ship and order some of the crew to start recovery operations, and I'm going to try to take a shot with my spear gun.
All right, what are you shooting?
At the nearest witch.
You got two to pick from. They're equidistant.
The one on the right.
So
The one with a fire in there.
this guy right here.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, go for it. AC 7.
I roll a 12.
With your bonuses, yes, you hit. 1d6 plus 3.
1d6.
Tell me what you get.
A 4. 3 plus.
All right, so
3 plus 1.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right. He looks like he was about to work some magic because his intended target jumped off the side of the ship. He raises his hand, and he's got another hand outstretched, and you place the spear through his outstretched hand. Grimaces and holds
Aim
onto
high,
the spear.
Air Force.
Oh, if only we had a Sauti guy here right now, it would make it perfect. You deck this guy in the hand, ruining the spell he was about to cast off. But and as you do that, you hear "going hot," and then you hear as the 240
Sound
starts,
of freedom.
Yep, starts leveling off. This guy right here, he gets like lit up, just totally blasted apart. Tumbles over the side of the deck, and you lose sight of him at that point.
I claim that one.
That brings us to them. That witch with the flame. She throws it. It elongates into this giant liquid stream of fire that seems to sail through the air, almost like a kite on a like a light breeze. As it gets closer to your ship, it changes and takes shape as almost like those dragons you see from Asiatic countries. Those big, long, this long mustache, like plumes coming off of its face.
Oh, yeah.
It takes up a position as it uncoils itself above the boat, and right here along the cannons, it exhales, loosing a stream of flame along the boat. But as it does, it's weird because it almost like consumes itself in the process. From its tail just starts to dissolve as the flame is pushed from its body out of its mouth onto target, catching fire to this side of the boat.
Ah, my ship!
Not the Cyclops or her remaining guard. They tackle her off the side of the ship.
Damn. I was gonna shoot you, bitch.
What do you guys do?
Once I'm back aboard, I'd like to organize a bucket brigade to extinguish my ship.
The daggers get to work on that pretty much right away. Sparky, do you help them up?
Yes, I will aid in the recovery operations, but keep a keen eye to the waters in case anything else starts coming up.
I am going to take the guy that was woke up from the charm, give him a giant bear hug, and swim down, since I can breathe underwater and he cannot.
All right, so you want to try and wrestle him?
I'm gonna wrestle him, Navy style.
Go for it, Lieutenant Nemo.
Oh, this ought to be fun. All right, give me an attack roll.
19 gonna do it? Nope, that's an 18. Never mind. 18.
Part of war crimes today will be played by.
Well, he's awake and trying to kill us
I'm
again.
just gonna drown some dude.
You managed to swim 10 feet down, and he takes what kind of looks like a sharpened piece of metal. It's more shiv than like real knife. Probably what they give to some of the lesser deckhands. And he jabs you in the ribs for 4 points.
That's going to leave a mark, but I'm going to keep diving.
All right. So you get another 10 feet. And he jabs you again for this time for 5.
-9. Okay. Can I stab back as I'm pulling him down, or is just holding him taking all my... So I'm going to use my knife and stab him back.
All right. Go for it. Are you using the big Bowie knife, or are you using like a regular
My
knife?
combat knife.
Okay,
Stab
go
him.
ahead.
I know which start.
1d6 minus 1.
All right, 1d6 minus 1.
What did you get?
I got a 4, so minus 1 is a 3.
No. What did you get to hit? You got to hit him first.
I got a natural 20.
Oh
I
my
just
God.
rolled it.
Roll the percentage.
Okay, let me get those dice out.
We rolled a 08.
I got a 41.
All right, so you take the knife, and instead of like just stabbing regularly, you take the knife from this way to flat. You insert it in between a rib and then turn so that it spreads the ribs, and then start punching back and forth, shredding the lung underneath. He coughs several times before blood comes out of his mouth and dips into the water, and then I assume you kick him away and head back toward the surface?
Yep, trailing blood and hoping the sharks don't come.
Your friend the Myrrh grabs you by the back of your clothing and drags you back to the surface. He starts shouting something at you, but you don't understand it.
Okay.
Sparky, you're on the deck and you can kind of hear what's going on. Your translator, the thing that's on your wrist, it starts like picking up what this guy is shouting. He's saying, you need to get out of the water now. All this blood is going to bring something bad.
Okay, I start screaming at everybody to get out of the water. I start signaling over our comms. I wave my arms like a madman because I've already seen some really terrible shit. I don't want to see any more today.
All right. So you guys start climbing the deck, putting out the fire, recovering yourselves.
Rescuing my rum cask.
Rescuing your rum cask.
I help our captain with the rum cask.
As I'm coughing, I tell the mer person to save the treasure from the sinking ship.
He doesn't understand what you're saying.
I did try.
And I wonder if Rick James has, or not Rick James, Chaos Actual has a rum cask and a whiskey cask, or is it just kind of, has two chambers that has one of each?
He's got a rum cask and a whiskey flask.
Oh, okay. All right.
And we've got a rum barrel that we took from the destroyed city.
All right, so you guys get back on deck. Start gathering the what do you call it? The captured slaves. Do you also bring on the deckhands who have jumped overboard from the Sunset, or do you let them?
Do we Benny them?
We will offer them if they are worthy seamen, and the rest of the crew would tolerate them among them. We will offer them the chance to sign on for this voyage at the lowest rate of pay, and then to decide whether they wanted to continue with us when we reach the next port, or they may take some of the wreckage and we will give them rope and they can drift.
They kind of take you up on your offer to, work their way back to the next port.
Okay.
After a few minutes, that Murd dude climbs up over the gunrail, and he's panting. He looks like he's been working pretty hard. You guys who all hit the drink, your comms aren't working. So Sparky's the only, and the other daggers are the only ones who can really talk to him. He walks over to you and he says, "You understood me."
Yes, I did. I'm very perceptive and knowledgeable.
It's the mustache that gives him the power.
He goes, and that's what he says. He's like, "Is it this that makes you understand and speak my language through your arm?"
Yes. Because I'm a bullshit artist, I go along with it.
He goes, "What does bull's excrement do to make? Do you have to rub it on your face to make you talk the way you do? What does this? What does this do?" He says, "This is very strange to me, but I will go with it." He says, "Who do I thank for pulling me out of my predicament?"
Hey, real quick, a bit of business. Hey,
Yes.
JR, can you tell Aaron Seaman to chill on Jeremy Spires?
Sure.
Thank you.
So he says, who do I thank for my rescue?"
I gesture to our captain. He is our leader, our fearless leader, and Pirate King.
I'm down on my knees sucking my
Since I have no knowledge that
because
JR
that was pretty crazy how I flew around the ship and then blew your sword half of it while a hydra appeared out of the water.
I think I need to drink after.
Yeah, like
Maybe
that.
thing.
Like talk about a little shaky. That's like being one of those IED guys, but also a trapeze artist.
Yeah. And I'm not throwing JR under the bus. I didn't see him save anybody. I just have to
Yeah, without a
Let's
Hurt
try-
Locker suit. Without a Hurt Locker suit. I don't want to tell you, but I was pretty brave. It was pretty brave.
Captain Jack Hammer is responsible.
Gwen comes up and traces a symbol in your palm so that it activates a spell so you can understand him. And he says, so you are the captain?
I am the captain.
He says, I thank you for my life, although it was very unconventional the way that you went about it.
Well, we always find that we like to make plans and then improvise on them. And I saw a moment of opportunity in which to blow off the entire front section of the ship. And I took it because I'm a pretty brave guy, and it would take a brave guy to do that. And I'm brave.
He
And
says,
he sacrificed his sword for your safety.
you also look very injured.
I don't feel great, but I was told there'd be a lot of treasure in that ship that just went to the bottom that you could swim down to.
Have some run, Captain.
Myself and some of my friends could assist you with this. We could help.
Thank you. And your people are welcome on my ship. We will take you. Your leader, who I think will be your next king, insisted that we do this on your behalf.
And I asked the question, hey, if you have any healing, that would be very, very kind if you could share.
I am not capable of such things. I'm sure that once I get back to speak to my brother, Prince Keegan would be more than happy to accommodate that, but isn't one amongst you? I saw some magic, I thought.
Well, the magic was blowing off the front of the ship. That was
Ah, yes. That would be magic indeed.
That was the most magic you're going to see today, buddy.
Mike, he says, well, let me hydrate, and I will see what I can do.
I
He
know
says-
what you mean.
He says, I do not know what these are, and he points to the other people who are on the boat. They are not dressed like him. They just seem to be, what do you call it, as just normal people.
Okay.
He says, but I will begin to help do what you need me to do. And then he jumps overboard. So you guys guide the boat over to closer to land because you guys have kind of affected this operation right behind a small island. You start going on the land so that you can build fires, rig hammocks,
Bandage up.
effect healing.
Fish.
Trim my mustache.
Yep, cook some fish. Gwendolyn actually has spell-like ability that can heal you, so she starts going to work on that. After a little while, some other people of the Myrrh start showing up, and they start rigging things onto the beach, crates and barrels and so forth and so on. The young Myrrh that you've freed walks up onto the beach, and you're about halfway through this. You're about halfway through this barrel of rum right now to ease the pain. The pain didn't last very long because Gwendolyn had come along and healed your wounds.
There's still wounds. They're just not visible.
And he comes up and he says, "Might I have a moment?"
You can have as many as you like. Would you like some rum?
He says, hold on. And he reaches into he's now wearing what looks like a small belt and a sash. He says, I have this. And he pulls out what looks like a folded piece of seaweed. And he hands it to you, and he says, try this.
The shroom of the sea.
It's sweet. It almost tastes like it's still got a little bit of a fishy taste to it, but there's like hints of honey and cinnamon. But it is highly fermented.
Okay.
You can tell it the second it hits your tongue. This stuff is highly fermented.
This is nice. I chase it with a little whiskey.
He says, unfortunately, I I am not able to do anything about this. And he takes what looks like an oiled skin and he peels it back, and it's got the pieces of your sword.
Oh.
And he sets it down on the beach next to you, and he says, I can't do anything about this. But in thanks for my life, and he unties the sash, and then he hands it to you.
I'll take the sash. I appreciate that. Thank you.
He
This
says,
is a great gift, and I will use it. What does it do?
he says, yeah, I forget. Not everybody is as familiar. He takes the sash. He's like, language barriers, even with magic. He kind of like folds it around, almost like like he's gonna whip a towel. And then he pulls it tight, and it elongates and straightens into a sword.
Ooh, nice.
Cool.
So he says, not as good as something that can take off the prow of a ship.
Yes.
And then he shakes it back and forth, and it just turns into a sash, and then he hands it back to you.
As a pirate, I need a sash like that. Or maybe I'm a bard.
He says, from what I've heard from some of your survivors, it could be so. He says, remain on the beach. We will be recovering treasure and other things for some time. Some more of my people will be by shortly with some promised gifts for you.
Well, thank you. We accept that, and we will continue to fish and cook and provide rum and assist in the recovery operations.
He nods and walks away and approaches Bren, and he says, "Excuse me, he of Mighty Mustache."
Yes.
He says, "Your shot was well made." He hands you a quiver with 20 of those spears.
Sweet.
And he says, "Good luck and good hunting. Thank you."
I bow graciously and thank him.
He says, "May your mustache always be luscious and full." And he walks.
You too, my friend.
He walks to JR, and he says,
Make the mustache bless you.
He says, "Excuse me."
Hello.
He says,
Don't make this awkward.
I understand you were. I saw your actions under the deck, and you did well to try to free us before your captain ripped off the front half of the boat.
Thank
like
you.
A boss.
He says, that knife that you carry.
Which one? And I gesture to both of them.
He says those are just things that have not touched the true nature of the sea, and thus, since I fished you out of the sea, you should have a weapon that speaks to your time in our beloved ocean. And he takes out what looks like a piece of coral handle.
Okay.
And the blade is long and curved slightly, and it looks like it might be made of either sharpened bone or some sort of tooth.
Okay, I'll take it. Thank you.
He says, use that well, and just don't stab anything in the water.
And then I'll hand him the Bowie knife and say, in return.
Oh, he's like, oh, thank you.
Where do you want me to throw this away? I mean, keep it at.
Good job, JR.
So
Probably offended their entire culture.
what do you call it? You guys are kind of on the beach. And
Are there any of the survivors who weren't mer people that are like comely, Rock Hillish, Welsh young girls in wet clothing that are like seem uncertain and afraid?
Yes, there is a whole gaggle of them that looked like they were probably bound to be slaves somewhere, and they're wearing like that white linen that is.
Any of them
Yes.
Any of them desperate for a man with a mustache.
Yes. I will walk up to the prettiest, most Raquel Welch looking one and ask her if she'd like to learn how to fish.
The what do you call it? Is that something that is required now that we are in your service?
No, you're not in my service. You're free to go now. I just thought you might want to learn how to fish. It's very relaxing. It's very romantic with a young lady like you.
Wait, we're free?
You're free.
Her and several others just run off the beach. No idea where they're going, no whatever. They just take off.
They'll be back.
They'll come back for this.
They'll be back once they figure out this is an island.
One of them who's a little older. She sits down. She's still wringing out her hair, and she says, "I would love 2 things from you:
Yes.
a hit of that flask, and teach me to fish."
She's my woman. I give her both, and then I walk to the edge of the water and we fish.
So as you walk by Aloysius Kuchenmeyer, who is just received healing from Gwendolyn, she walks off to handle some of the other crew, and you get those whispers again. You kind of follow them around and turn, and you see the witch who had caught like fire and had thrown the fire at the boat. She's like staggering across the beach. She hits her knees and kind of like dazed, like exhausted, and she slumps down face first with like her arm outstretched almost near the log where you're sitting. And there's something shiny in her hand, but she has gone unconscious, absolutely passed out from exhaustion.
I walk over
Family
there.
friendly.
Yeah, I walk over there and claim whatever shiny object I see.
So you peel it out of her hand. She's still alive, although she's. It looks like that fire didn't totally do nothing to her. It looks like the act of collecting all that flame had burned her in certain spots. Excuse me.
Which spots?
Yes. So as she sits on the beach, you reach down into her hand and you what do you call it? You pick up what kind of looks like and feels like an ID card with a with like a tag, like you might wear the ID on you clip it to your shirt, and it's a plastic laminated ID card with a clip, and you turn it over. It says Jennifer Hayes, field technician on it, and it's got a GS rating. And that's where we'll hold it. Where sci-fi writers are playing old school D&D. We want to thank everybody for coming out. We were still having some technical difficulties, but now that